Guys, it was funny. I got out of the house just to go for a short walk, and it got me to thinking about something that happened to me when I was 16 years old. I'm going to have to shoot an intro video after this just because I think that this is more important than it's talking about the simple salesman. There's a concept that I share with everyone. It's called "It's All My Fault." It's interesting because people talk about ownership. They talk about responsibility, and they still have a tendency to blame other people for things that are out of their control. And I think that's interesting because when you take the fault for everything in your life, you are there. You can actually make a change. If something's not your fault, technically speaking, you can't change it. Now, we can argue semantics, right? It cannot be my fault and I can take ownership. And I'll be clear, there's a slippery slope. You can't take fault. You can't be the person to blame for other people's reactions, other people's actions. That's just not how it works. In the end, you are at fault for the situation you're in. It's kind of like a roadmap, right? You don't really get to choose where you start in life. You don't get to choose, who your parents are, what your economic standings are. None of those things are your choice. And all of us start at a different place. However, the choices we make and the things we decide to do are by our own choice. And they lead us on certain paths. And as long as we realize that where we stand today, at this moment, and all the things that happen around us are all fault because we're here, because of where we chose to be, then allows us to choose to go anywhere. Now, I'm going to break into this concept more, but the moment you realize that everything that occurs to you is your fault, it's empowering. I'm not saying blame yourself. I'm not saying to blame yourself for if someone treats you poorly, if you're in a relationship that's, abusive, that's not your fault. Staying is, right? Now, is that a hard thing to move away from? Absolutely. Choices in life are not easy by any means. And you can really look into why we make the choices we make to better understand it. But once you take ownership, I'm where I'm at today and it's my choice, you can make a lot of change. You can move quickly through life. You can start to realize that it's just one step forward and I can actually make the difference. It's hard to do and it's hard to take that ownership sometimes, especially when you realize that you go to work every day. You can't control your boss, but you can control where you work. You can look for a new job. You can look for a new opportunity. You can take a risk. And I'm not saying that everyone has to go out there and be an entrepreneur. That may not be what makes you happy, but knowing where you're at and knowing that you're there because of the choices you made allows you to move forward. So just remember, before you blame someone else, see how you put yourself in that situation. Then, when you can make the change, change it. I'm not saying it'll happen today. I'm not saying it'll happen tomorrow. But the moment you realize that you're in control of where you stand, it's amazing where you can go.